Wow. Welcome back to Indian Trace, everybody. This is the first bin sweep that I've ever done. And I'm going to explain that. Bin sweep. Because my display box, which if you're just clicking by, you won't understand, but many people who tune into Indian Trace know what that means, is organized in such a way where there's 9 compartments across. So today I did a bin sweep. And I went through and I selected some points that I don't often see. And if I don't often see them, it's definite that you don't often see them. So I went right across, if I can get my focus in here without start shaking you around. Awesome North American Indian artifacts from Eastern Central North Carolina. I mean, dynamic stuff. We're going to go over these things a little slower. But let me explain this to make it clear. On my display, the way I keep my displays, I have 9 bins across the top, and I'll do some other bin sweeps because I'm going to do my top shelf stuff. But in bin sweeps, just the creative idea to show and to share some of the collection. And some of you guys out there, whether it's Ditch Walker or Creek Walk, there's some new videos up. You guys have been finding some incredible artifacts. Very humbling. To me, it's humbling when people find artifacts. But the bins across, I'm babbling. I get distracted. The bins across go, of course, exactly like this. I mean, this is from the first, second, third, and I just went through and I selected a point from each bin that just touched my heart for today. And you never know. You know, some days you just take a look at something else or you just admire something for a certain reason. So let me tell you a little bit about these. In this bin sweep that I'm doing on Indian Trace, just trying to keep things a little different. I've had a lot of positive response about doing some of these display videos where you get a chance just to see some artifacts from a different region or what have you. This is a great point right here. This point came from the archaic of Site 4. I've always loved it. It goes in a bin with many others, maybe 25, 30 other little points. Just very well made. Now, of course, the bin sweep, which will probably be a series, will just be the top shelf stuff that I have, and I'll just sweep right across the bins like you're seeing here. And it's full of little points about this size, this first bin. Then I went to the second bin. Oh, it wasn't like that. It was like that, wasn't it? And of course, from Site 1, we've got an eared Yadkin. That just jumped out at me today. It was a great find. Maybe about 3 years ago. Really great piece. And of course, as you can see, just thin as can be. To give you guys a look at these today. As always, there's so much going on. So much going on that whether you wanted to or not, I was talking to my son and his friend this weekend a whole lot. They had lots and lots of questions about their future and about politics. It's good that they're involved. But I told them whether they want to or not, they're going to be involved. If you're just going to sit on the sidelines and not be active in your networks to work to help people understand or share, you're still going to be involved because things that run downhill like laws. Here's a point from the Cascade, a rare crystal, Guilford straight base. Great quality. It's a nice piece, isn't it? So we had a good conversation, and they really get it, you know, and it's very difficult to live a broad life where you're willing to examine political stance, not just what you feel that your religious stance is, but at the same time embrace freedom to accept everyone else's, not to be prejudiced, if you will, against what other people want to believe and how they want to live. Listen, as long as we all have the ability, because we do have the right, to pursue our life, to have liberty, and to pursue happiness, you know, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But there are some, and it lays in majority in a certain political party, unfortunately, I wish it wasn't so, that do not want you or I to just be able to have our life, our liberty, and our ability to pursue happiness. But those that want life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that want to support America and everything it ever stood for, are the majority. And we celebrated that this weekend, both my son and his friend. And they have great minds, so I was really happy about that. This piece, I'm sorry, I get carried away. What a fantastic piece, right? From Notchville. I was impressed by a news interview that I saw, and I'm going to attach the link. Really impressed by the interview of a celebrity that we all know. And if you're my age, you've known this celebrity for 20, 30, 40 years. And I don't want to say celebrity, he doesn't consider himself a celebrity at all, but since everybody knows him, I say that. He's a musician. He's a musician that's, because of the tainted reports on him and efforts to destroy his life, you will, of course, know the negative things that have been said about his stance on freedom, on the United States of America. But I remember the words of Paul himself. And Paul the Apostle in the Scriptures would say, "Have I become your enemy because I have told you the truth?" You know, and that's the way it is a lot in life, unfortunately, with people who don't want to study out what the facts are, what the evidence is and everything. Then they set themselves as your enemy if you tell them the truth. It's very hard. So you just keep moving forward. That was a great point here from Crystal Beach. Here's another great point. Rhyolite. Stunning piece. I found this the week I was getting ready to go up and see my father, and when I did, he was waiting for my family, and he passed away from leukemia. I'll never forget this point because it was like the day before I would leave to go up there to New York to see him. Sort of like we were the last family that he needed to see before he passed away. And he was a good man. He was one of the ones that started my hunger in studying, not just, he didn't have me study the artifacts, but the people, the North American Indian. That's a great find. I remember that day. I did mention him that day. So that came from Site 7. Here's a point from Site 4, from the Archaic. Piece of rhyolite. That's the material you're looking at here. Just trying to give you a close-up and just spend a little personal time with these. A little talking museum time, right? This is exactly the way they wanted it. Maybe they couldn't reduce it off, you know. This stuff I heard was sometimes very difficult to work with. But I'm going to tell you what, it's resilient. That is probably the number one reason why they chose it. And the flint is beautiful when it's young, dark green, army green, and it patinas this light, awesome patina. So that's cool. Excellent stuff. Here's a point from Site 4. From the clay pot. Absolute great Guilford Yuma. Look at the fine edge work on this piece. But I would encourage you right now, even with my voice, to consider the political interest link today. When I watched it, and I watched 10, 20 a day to try to figure out the best one that I might share. So to me, it's the cream of the crop. Now, of course, if you don't agree with me, it's okay. No big deal. But and then you don't have to pursue anything I share. But if you do agree and have similar thoughts, or share the stuff with people who you think it might help them, it might enlighten them, it might reinforce something in them. This is a great point, isn't it? I always like that. And the clay pot has put out so many nice pieces. And it's a very young site. One of my friend's properties is private property, and he's a fantastic individual. But he doesn't have much interest in rocks. You know how it is sometimes. Here's a point from Mecca, one of the first, pausing points that I found maybe 4 years ago there. I was just so happy about it. I can't even tell you. You know when you first find your first points? It's one of those. It's just a simple, basic, traditional arrowhead. It's absolutely awesome to me, but compared to some of the stuff I see you guys find, this stuff may seem a little bit crude, but it's what we have around here. You do your best with what you have. So that is my binge strip. And I mean, I came from the small, we'll go to the big and finish. If I can get them in there and get a good focus. Just some good stuff. And these, just sort of a little trace right across the top row in the bins, just grabbing one per bin. Something different so that they're definitely from different time periods and different styles. In each bin, there's very similar styles and materials, though. That's how I organize my bins. But when I do it this way, we get a good variety. But since they're all top shelf, they're all favorites. From Indian Trace to all of you out there, I appreciate you tuning in just for a little relaxation and some good artifacts and hopefully good conversation. All in all, I hope you find out there